You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Okay, we'll call the Board of Selectmen's meeting for January 18th, 2023 to order. Item 1, to consider and if appropriate, approve the Board of Selectmen minutes of November 16th, 2022 and December 14th, 2022, which was a special meeting, and we'll do January 4th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Move, seconded. Hearing any corrections, omissions, edits? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item 2, we can skip tonight. Item 3, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from Thomas Mahoney, Fire Chief, to waive the bid for the purchase of 11 sets, it's a correction to the printed agenda, 11 sets of firefighter turnout gear, and award the contract to Firematic Supply Company Incorporated in the amount of $44,956.27.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, it was a typo in my email. It is 11 sets. It doesn't change the bottom line of $44,956.27. This contract we did go out to bid with. The bid expired. Their increase is in line with what we've been seeing in all across whatever product we are buying. And it's still pretty consistent with their former price considering the inflationary add-ons. So I wouldn't expect... But we will go out to bid in the next upcoming budget. But due to supply chain and lead times and everything, I am asking that you allow us to go ahead with this purchase.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Move, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you all.
Item 4, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from Laura Bourbon, Director of Daniel Cosgrove Animal Shelter, to waive the bid for the purchase of office furniture and award the contract to WB Mason in the amount of $51,499. Welcome.
Thank you. So we've been working with WB Mason for quite some time on just helping us design and have the appropriate type of furniture in these rooms. Some of our rooms are sort of awkwardly sized because of having an addition to the old shelter and the new shelter. With that said, we need both options of having medical grade furniture so that we can disinfect and sanitize furniture where animals are going on and people are sitting on. So in the visiting rooms, we wanted that option. But then for the cost effectiveness, we wanted the option of having regular furniture as well in other areas of the shelter. So WB Mason was able to offer us both of those options and also came in and said that they would obviously give us the lowest price and match any others that came in.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Moved, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And thank you for sending that stuff to me. I appreciate it.
All right, item 5, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from John Hufferly, Town Engineer, to waive the bid for the purchase and installation of roofing heat tape and award the contract to Premier Building Associates in the amount of $24,000.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, in the memo to the Board of Selectmen here, we're looking for a bid waiver on this particular item due to the fact that the roofing contractor for the total renovation project is Premier Builders. So in order to keep that warranty in place, we would need to use them since they have to cut through the roof that's already there to install this heat tape. And then the heat tape just generally is to keep ice from building up and sitting up against the building where the roof meets the building at the entrance there. So this would be all the work to install the heat tape, buy the heat tape, furnish and install it, wire it up to the existing wiring that we have in place for this particular purpose. So.
Could you just explain to everyone, John, just so everyone knows, what you explained to me in the email about why it's going this way? You had some technical things you had to deal with.
Right, so the heat tape itself was kind of added towards the end of the project. We had some, due to the existing conditions of the building, we had to figure out how to get the roof to match in with the existing building itself. When we were looking at that, we realized that there was a need for this tape. So by the time we figured out that need, the time was kind of running out on the clock, so to speak. We had to release the contractor, the construction manager on the job. So we pulled this back out of the project, which in the end ends up saving the town a little money since we're not paying that markup. We're not paying somebody to really inspect the work from the construction manager side, so.
Thanks. I'll move it.
Okay, it's
Second.
moved, second, and further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
If
thanks.
you get a chance, John, could you send that info to me in the second email I sent you? Thank you.
Item 6, green use, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from Branford Arts and Cultural Alliance for the use of the town green on September 9th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to hold a celebration of culture.
So moved.
Second.
Then moved, seconded, further discussion, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 7, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from third grade students at Mary R. Tisco Elementary School to install a pollinator garden at Foot Riverside Park. This is a project that the third graders at Tisco are working on. For those who aren't aware, Foot Riverside Park is the park on Pine Orchard Road that is along the Branford River. It is a piece of town property. They are learning about the importance of bees and pollinators, and this is a project that they're doing through their science program as well as their writing class. And I received a number of letters for this, supporting this request. I did select 3 out of the many to read tonight. I think it's important to show that, at this young age, you can make an impact on your community. So this is sent to me and to the Board of Selectmen. Thank you for everything you do, but I was wondering if the third grade can plant a garden for the bees. Because if we don't have bees, we won't have that much food, like apples, tomatoes, or even flowers or trees. The whole world uses trees to build little huts and keep warm or to make paper. The trees help people a lot because trees give us oxygen, and without bees, they won't pollinate fruit or veggies, and the animals eat the seeds and reproduce the plants. With trees, the bees always pollinate them so they can grow and give us shade, air, paper, and oxygen for us to breathe. And please make us this garden. I know you'll make the right choice. Thank you for reading this. Note, sincerely, Tatiana. Dear Mr. Cosgrove, Branford is a very nice town with beautiful parks, but not many gardens. I believe we should plant a garden to attract bees because we need them to live. We also need bees for food, and bees need us for flowers and a nice, green, colorful place to live. A garden would be nice for the bees and a beautiful place to visit. We really hope this could happen. Sincerely, Sabrina. And the last one. Dear Mr. Cosgrove, you've done a great job taking care of Branford. That was unsolicited. Though we need more pollinator gardens, Foot Riverside Park would be a great spot. So can we please use some of the land from the park to make a pollinator garden? Please, it's your choice to save the world or not. Also, not saying yes can lead to our extinction too. It would be sweet as honey if you would let us borrow the land. Also, bees make most of our foods, like fruits and nuts. So let the bees live. It's from Jones. P.S. Please share with the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Recreation. So since it is a park, I will be bringing this share this with the...
I want to move this, though. I want to get out
Yeah,
there and be a racist, too. Wow.
So,
As a future voters, we need to do it.
yeah. So,
It's moved.
moved by Selectman Dunbar.
Second.
Second by Selectwoman Higgins. I will just add that they have actually toured the location. I think we had Public Works Supervisor Gary Zielinski meet with them, as well as a member of the Conservation Commission, Heather Wells Sweeney, who has met with the class. They'll be working with the class throughout the winter, and come spring, they're going to be designing, and I think the fire department, they got an aerial photo of it. The kids are going to actually be designing and soliciting or selecting plants that should be there. And hopefully this spring that we'll be planting the pollinator garden. So it's a project that lasts throughout the school year. Certainly thank them. And it's been moved, seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank you. Item 8, appointment, Solid Waste Management Commission, Harvey Hayman to fill a vacancy left by Jeffrey Brown, term to expire September 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Move seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 9, correspondence. We do not have any correspondence. Item 10, other business. Ray, would you like to come up?
Good thing you guys use WPA Mason for the furniture, so.
Yeah.
Move up, right? Okay. So, I'll sit down here. My name is Ray Luden. I live at 25 Tool Drive. Moved back to Branford about 2.5 years ago. Great to be back. I walk almost 5 miles a day in all different directions when I leave my house, and it's nice to have options to go in different directions. So I've been walking this town for over 2 years since moving back here, and I've noticed a huge uptick in litter over that period of time. Nips being a huge part of it. The amount of nips that I have been seeing really started to bother me. On January 11th of 2022, I'm sorry, January 11th of 2023, well, on one of my walking routes, I just decided I was fed up with the situation. I grabbed a paper bag from the clerk at the Indian Neck package store, and while walking up Indian Neck Avenue to Tool Drive, I picked up a huge amount of nips. The bag was actually ripping. It was so full. It was a paper bag. You'd put a 6-pack in or whatever. After my shower and lunch, I then decided to go each of the 6 package stores in town. I find out today there's actually 10. And present this box of nips I had picked up. Some thought I was just returning them, and others just had no clue. That same day, I also stopped at the police station and town hall to express my concern. I explained that this first batch were scattered along the roadside in a certain area of town. I named that area of town the Martini Glass of Carelessness, because if you look at it, the base of the Martini Glass would be right at the Indian Neck package store. You go up Indian Neck Avenue, the split there where you can go to Foot Park or Montewiese up into town, that becomes the glass, and it goes all the way over Meadow Street to the train station and then back down around by the brewery. I live on Tool Drive, so if there was liquid in the Martini Glass, that would be Tool Drive. On one given day, I found 16 of these nips on my street. The Martini Glass of Carelessness, like I say, comes up Indian Neck Ave to the split with Montewiese, up to Meadow Street, and across to the brewery, blah, blah, blah. On the 13th, 2 days later, after a night of heavy rains, I walked back down to Block Island Road, where you turn down to go to Bruce and Johnson's, and walked up Montewiese to Meadow Street and back down to my house on Tool. I 3/4 filled another bag of nips. I then decided to do a little research, as I recalled that there was a deposit or something like that placed upon them, and monies were being sent to towns based on the number of nips distributed into the 6 package stores in town, which is now 10. These establishments are required, through my research, to post highly visible signs letting customers know about the law and what really should be done with those spent nip bottles. I did not see one of those signs in any of those establishments. 0 for 6. I'm sure if it went to the other 4, I'd be 0 for 10. To date, Branford has received $36,666.48 to be used to establish any number of environmental programs, according to what I read online. I don't know if any of this money has been spent in said fashion, or if the whole amount is being held somehow in escrow upon decisions. It can be any number of scenarios, but for sure, these alcoholic beverages are being consumed while folks are driving, whether it be a carload of kids or an adult ripping down a few while on the ride home from work. It's obvious that people who care are not doing this. These bottles are the perfect size to easily get gully washed right into a catch basin and then into the Branford River and Long Island Sound. So what can we do about this? And how can we let people take care about this, know what we plan, that care about this, know what we plan to do? So that's my first question. Let me give some details. This box over here was from the 11th of January. 83 of the bottles were Captain Morgan Spice rum, just like this. Another 49 were others. On the 13th, this box right here, 55 more of these lovely Captain Morgan bottles and 19 others, which I just stuffed into this bag. On the 18th, which was this morning, 68 more Captain Morgan bottles, just like you see here, and 9 others. For a grand total of 206 Captain Morgan bottles, 77 others, a total of 283. I thought I had about 300. I was pretty close. But on today's walk, I found something very interesting right at the tail end. This bag was against the fence just before you get across the street from where Ray had his, Ingram had his office there. So I put my walking stick down and I went over and I looked in the bag and said, wow, these are the boxes that the sleeves of 10 come in when you buy them at the package store. And there was a few loose bottles in there. That's wonderful. But in the bag, this is the key. There is a envelope here from Key Bank with all of these receipts crunkled up and stuffed in the envelope. I'm not a cop, I'm not a detective. I figured this might be something interesting. So when I got home, I put them in date. Key Bank, December 28th. Home Depot, same day. Okay? Key Bank, January 5th. Withdrawal. Here's the key part. January 9th, 3:17 p.m., Indian Neck Liquor Store, a 10-pack of these. January 10th, 4:14 in the afternoon, another 10-pack of those. January 11th, 12:08 p.m., lunchtime, 10 more. Key Bank, another withdrawal. McDonald's, I guess you got a McDonald's at some point. So I went to Indian Neck Package Store, and that was the first place I went when I was on that Wednesday when I went around town. So I went back there today, the guy recognized me, hey, what do you got going on? I showed him this. So when I got to the 3 receipts from Indian Neck Package Store, he goes, I know exactly who it is. The habitual purchase of these. Now, I'd be willing to bet that that particular person, whoever it may be, doesn't buy them all there, but he knew right away who it was. So I left there, and I'm going to sit back down. I went back to the police department. I spoke to Officer Amaranti. So I got him 2 weeks in a row on Wednesdays. Just heard me out and stuff like that. Because I'm not here to just complain. I'm here to be part of the solution, whatever you guys decide you want to do. That's why I'm here. Mm-hmm. But we also need to find a way to nip this, no joke intended, nip this in the bud, okay? He thinks that for them to do anything, we need to file some sort of formal complaint. I'm personally willing to do that. But what I thought was that we can go to each of the package stores in town, and remind them of the written law that they're supposed to be following. There's supposed to be an orangey colored sign clearly posted at every single package store explaining what that nickel for nip law or whatever it is program is all about. So I'm going to be going on vacation in a couple weeks. When I get back, I'm sure I'll have another 300 of these to pick up. But I'd like to see what we can do as a town to not only get rid of this problem, but some other litter issues that are really, really going on. And that for a person like me, believe me, I'm not a tree hugger, but I don't like litter because it's just irresponsible. So that's the end of that part of it. Just one other question. And she told me that cleanup on Route 1 or state roads in town is done by the state. Or we have to request it to the state or whatever it may be. And I was walking on Monday, coming down from this exact building towards the Pretzel. And when you're right before you get to Cherry Hill Road, there's a drainage ditch, and then the pipe goes underneath, and then the drainage just goes all the way down to the Sapphire Fuel there, right by the, if you guys get a chance to ride by there, the litter in that drainage ditch, which drains somewhere, will boggle your mind. So I talked to Lisa today, downstairs. She lives on my street. And I know there's some cleanup efforts that are done in the springtime. I asked her, because I know she gets involved with that she can put that area, if the state doesn't clean it up, onto her list of places we could tackle on Earth Day or, whatever it may be in the springtime. I'd like to see it cleaned up sooner because it's astronomical the amount of stuff that's in that area. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah. No, I appreciate you coming in and the amount of information that you did provide in terms of your question regarding, could somebody go and ensure we can contact we've done it with other ordinance. We'll have a town representative go and notify the package stores of the statute and what their responsibility is to comply with that, with the signage. nips, those bottles are, you know, certainly not only throughout Branford, but throughout the state. And that's what led to the legislation.
Sure.
One of the reasons that led to the legislation. But you also bring up a good point. I mean, litter in general is a major issue. I think it's a quality of life issue, right? It's just, and it is something that we do, you know, take efforts to address. Even, you know, our public works will go out and they'll do actual litter pickup.
Sure.
Various locations throughout town. You know, when reading the statute, actually just coincidentally, even before that day you came in, we were just kind of reviewing with another individual in town regarding the legislation and the use of those grants. You are correct. We did receive $36,000 to date. That comes in, and we can use that for, well, it's recommended to use it for various activities to kind of curtail litter throughout town. And we're, you know, giving consideration to some ways we can do that, accomplish it.
Sure.
You know, I know you mentioned about the annual cleanup, but, you know, one of the things that we talked about in my office, interest and I, maybe we engage the neighborhoods to, you know, or the other organizations that are in town, whether there's always looking for, whether it's the sports groups, the scouts, other service organizations that are looking for
garden club.
the time, but you know, also we can make a grant or a donation to those organizations. These are things that we're considering, but I'm bringing this up, even though it's not decided yet, because we value the input. But if there's an interest that we can gather and address areas of town on a more regular basis, that rather than just the once-a-year cleanup that we get, you know, and that's a one-day effort, or even just relying solely on, it is a daunting task to just rely on just, you know, one department to kind of do that for 115 miles of road that we have throughout town.
Right.
But yes, you're right, that's what we're looking to utilize those dollars, or a portion of those dollars for those efforts.
Yeah. One other thing, I walk through the parks as well, and the entrance to, I guess it's really Foot Park, right, where you can walk through the tennis courts and all that. And I ran into one of the town workers the other day, and he was cleaning up the garbage cans, and he was over by the porta potty, and I had come out of the park, and I had probably 6 or 7 of these in a bag from my way there. And I didn't realize until I started, I looked down, I picked up another 9 or 10 or 11 right there, and he was telling me, like, you know, he said, thank you. I said, I've been doing this my second trip, and I got one more to go. And he mentioned that there's a guy that goes there and parks in the same spot, however many days a week, smokes half a cigar and throws it on the ground. I mean, I just don't people just understand the ramifications of just things like that. You know, it's unsightly. Cigars take a long time to decompose, just laying there, and they could end up in the water, in the sound as well. So that's kind of where my thoughts are with that. We got to protect the sound, but we also just need to make our town look cleaner. It's a great town. I love being back here, but somehow we just need to take the proactive approach to let people know, and then also react when the situation is out there like it is now, whether it be next week to clean up that spot over there, let's say by Cinco de Mayo or something, whatever, you know, Kentucky Derby Day, we want to have all these areas cleaned up or something. But if we don't keep people from doing it, the same people who care are going to be the ones cleaning it up over and over and over again. And I noticed they're getting really bad with the masks from COVID. Now, I talked to a couple ladies, I'd say about a week and a half ago. I was walking right up through the center of town, and these 2 ladies walk around and just pick up the masks. It's all they pick up, 3 times a week, different parts of town. So it's just different layers. So you got masks from COVID, and these probably from COVID too. Who knows, right? Everything's from COVID. But that's the thing. So I asked Officer Emeranti if there was a way, being that this guy knows exactly who this person is, that if there's a way for them to be proactive and reach out, get the details, reach out to that person and say, hey, listen, we know what's going on. We prefer you stop doing it. And maybe we just nip that person in the butt. Because there's a chance that more than 50% of this is from the same person, because it's so habitual where I find it. So if you come out of where they're doing the new building for the housing authority apartments there, you can go either way, and alongside that road, 30, 40 boxes, you know, just everywhere. And I just, like I said, I got tired of it. So that's where I'm at. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me clean my mess up.
Take everything with you.
Yeah, you get a recycling bin here? I don't want to get no fireman in trouble, you know what I'm saying?
on a personal note, how much do these little nips cost?
A 10-pack is $12.04.
Thank you.
At Indian Neck, right there. Probably the same price at most other places
Most
in
of
town, but it's $12.04 to catch a little buzz on the way home from work or, on the way to your doctor's office or something. Whatever.
Wow.
But it just, I just, and other people I talk to when I walk, because, people got a dog, I pet the dog or whatever. There's a lot of people that are not happy about this. A lot. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, any other business?
Motion to
All
adjourn.
right, motion to adjourn, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.